Hey guys, what's
Hola.
up? Welcome back to the channel. Me and Sunny just wanted to do some kind of like podcast sort of sessions. We're thinking of posting 2 a week, and just to show you guys what we're kind of going through and like give some advice on bits. You guys ask a lot of questions in DMs and like comments and stuff, and sometimes on live streams we've seen people ask very valid questions that's tricky to just answer off the cuff, innit? You gotta like
Yeah, you can't
flesh 'em
always
out.
like, especially some of the stuff that you're asked. You can't always just sort of.
Yeah, like, but how many times have you been asked? Like, it's a lot. How many times have you been asked, like, what, where's your girlfriend at? Or like, are you single? Like, all these questions we get asked. Anytime you've heard us be asked those questions, we've probably given you like I'm single, or can't we talk about that? Blah blah
A
blah.
bullshit
Like,
answer.
yeah, there's all these kind of bollocks answers because it's tricky to elaborate on stuff, especially when you're in a band, like a youthful brand as well, like those kinds of things. We're just going to talk about what it was like going through all of that and like why we're excited to sort of be free of that, and how we think it'll be much better for us, like mentally, as well as like friendships around us and like family, and like there's so many things that
Mentally, I think is a big one, bro.
a massive one. Yeah, it's stuff we don't really talk
Like
about.
one of the biggest ones, man. Because I don't think until you like do a band or you're in a band in the kind of environment that we did it, where like I know we're not the only ones to do it, but like I mean, as in not just you're in a band and you meet on the weekend and play a few gigs, right? I mean, as in you live and breathe the band, you live with your band members. People don't realize how mentally draining that is. That's
So hard.
like that shit's like a 24/7 job. Like you don't switch off from that. You don't like go to your bed at night and just like the same way you would after school or college and switch off, man. Like you get in bed and then you fucking go and watch something to do with whatever band you're in, or you're trying to think of a way to do something for the band you're in, or a post, or you're scrolling through Twitter looking at the reaction to something your band did. It just doesn't stop, bro.
Yeah, man. Like, it's tricky because fans, like, or you guys, I don't like referring to you guys like fans, like just the fans, but it's just like an easier way to categorize everyone. The same way you say film guys and like we were the band members, but like, don't mean any disrespect by saying fans, but fans, roadies, followers, or whatever you want to be known as. You guys behind the lens, we've always had this facade up, like, and you guys, I think we've sold it that like we have this fun life all the time together in the band, and that we live together all the time, and it's great, and all this and that. Realistically, it was 90% tumultuous and effort, and mentally draining and confusing, and 10% was like, this is good, but not great. It's just like, this is good, and then you get like some tiny little highlight moments.
It took that like when I first was in a band, it took that like, I know like everyone's heard this shit before, but what you see on social media is only 5%. Everyone's not living that kind of life and that, and like you take it in, but you don't really take it in. It's not till you do a band that you realise how true that shit is. Like, bro, there were days, yeah, like where like, I don't want to say hate, but like the band just didn't like each other, like all 5 members, and it'd literally be a case of like group chat, we've got to come down, film a vlog. We come down, go mental for 5 minutes, and then go back upstairs, and no one speaks for the rest of the day. Like that happened on occasions. Like it's not
sad,
always
man.
like.
It's just what happens when you're in a band. Like, it's very different, like, to other groups. I think that's why we sort of we liked the idea, and everyone was on board with the idea of like the social media group. Not that we are a social media driven thing, or that we can't do music. Like, me and you've got every intention to do music.
Yeah.
But it was just, as in, we're no longer accountable to each other. That was the problem in the band, is that you had different walks of people, completely different, like, mentalities towards life, towards their careers, towards themselves and their own self-respect. There was such a vast difference between us that to try and be accountable to each other always causes massive dramas. Whereas
it's hard, yeah.
if we're solo entities that come together for a group ethic, then it's very different. You're no longer accountable for each person, and you don't hold malice to anyone, because it's like, if they want to screw up their time and their life, then that's on them. And it's no longer like your detriment as well.
And you don't have to like, when you collaborate, yeah, you collaborate when you want to collaborate. Like, the problem with bands is all 5 people have to have the same opinion for it to work, which never happens, by the way. That never fucking happens.
Or at least 4, and one's just got to take it on the chin.
That's what I'm saying. So there's always like a person that feels like they're losing out, or like having sort of like the brunt of something. Whereas when you're in a situation where you're all on your own and you can collaborate when you want to, because you found something you agree on already, and you like have a similar mindset, you can do that. When you're trying to build something with 5 different people, and like this person thinks you should do this person thinks you should do this. Like, where's the line, man? Like,
Mm.
where do you include everyone, but where at the same time
It's
do you go,
impossible
no,
to-
we need to get shit done?
Yeah, man. I don't think you can ever be at your like optimal level of creativity in a band. Like, I just don't think you can do it in a boy band like that. In a band, it's different because people have like assigned roles. But like in a boy band, for us, like we're gonna make so much better music, like as two or threes. Like Jack. Like Jack comes out of the band and makes a sick song. A song that I like listening to over most of, like nearly all of Road Trip stuff, because one or two people can come up with much better and more consistent creativity than 5 people being like, no, I disagree on that, but I want to sing this bit, and it's just like, man, like what a stressful environment, and that's meant to be the fun bit. That's why music wasn't fun. Like, not only did, like we were speaking about earlier, we didn't even really get involved in the writing process. It's sort of dictated, because it's just simpler that way, and I appreciate that it's simpler that way, but it also means that you're then not there for music and you don't enjoy the music process. It's not our fault, so we didn't put that on ourselves. That's just like, it's just a way boy bands work. I actually think boy bands are a dying breed. I don't think they're something that are going to last.
You don't think
very
they're
long.
going to last much longer?
I don't think so. I think like the traditional boy band that you know it as, I think is dying out. I don't think people want to buy into these young people, good-looking people. Like, that's always going to be a thing. People are always going to like have their stereotypical kind of people that they hold on some sort of pedestal for inspiration, or because like they want to put their trust and their confidence in through these like third party sort of profiles, and that's always going to be a thing. But I think the idea of these like boys as a group coming together that look this stereotypical way, act this stereotypical way, never have a real opinion because they're told to act a certain way. I think all that, even in solo artists as well, I think that whole thing is dated and it's going to be gone. And we're seeing it go as well now. Like, there isn't going to be another Justin Bieber like that or another One Direction. There'll still be other boy bands of some sort. There'll still be other solo artists. There'll just be a more authentic
real.
breed. Yeah.
Not as
I
like
think so.
squeaky clean and clean cut, because
it's bollocks. Like, it's not true. No one believes it now. Like,
that's where I think all the mental health issues actually come from in boy bands. Like, and anyone I know that's been in a band or in a boy band where they've like given it the kind of effort that like we did, essentially, like where they live together, they all struggle mentally, dude. And it's because they're constantly doing and delivering.
It's delusional.
And being someone they're not.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where like, even I think this was the problem with Road Trip, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, you have that scenario that I was just on about where like it's not really what you want to do, and it takes a drain on your mental health. So then you get to the point where you kind of try and come to terms with the fact that you're in a band, you've got to cater for 4 other people, and you kind of make sacrifices and go, oh no, I don't really like that, but I get that that's cool for the band, yeah. And over time that evolves, and you realise that everyone in the band doesn't like what the band's doing.
I know.
Therefore, it's just a pointless product. Like
It's mad.
on occasions, like parts of it are like
inauthentic.
almost redundant. It's just not. It's the vlogs are kind of different. Like you can't
hide in a vlog. I think that's why they were good, and I think the band was built like large in part off of the vlogs with the fan base.
But through music, man, you can't lie. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to pretend that you're absolutely loving your life
When you're not. Yeah.
when you're not.
Yeah, man. Like, it's so tricky because I've always hated the whole difference between like people who have like a polarizing attention and people who give that attention to others. I.e., you've got people that support people and people who want to be supported. And I think there's such a blurred line there, because to become someone who is supported, i.e., like, I hate to say words like idol or like things like that, but you know what I'm saying, like some person of influence. To be that person, you need to consistently sell a story. And the story's always been like cheap, ephemeral motives, like looking good, being single, singing about love and all these bollocks things, and like trying to make a song sound like it's sad and genuinely emotional, when really you don't give a crap about the song. You just want people to be emotional when they listen to it. Like, it's just that whole genre of artistry is gone. I think it's so dead in the mud. And I think Road Trip was one of the last bands that actually tried to pursue that, and we always fought against that. All of us were always like, we don't want to do that. We want to be authentic. We just want to be ourselves. We want to make music that we like. We don't really care if a label doesn't like it, or if like, even if like young people don't like it. Like we just want to like it, and then
Yeah.
see where that takes you.
Because if you start acting in a way that you're not, or like you said, you're not acting yourself, and then you build a following, not acting yourself, you're then in a position where you're stuck, and you have to keep being someone that you're
Bro,
not
it's mad.
to enter. Like, because at the end of the day, if you've got a following off of that, like that's what they've bought into.
Mm.
Like, you can't then go.
That's where the
and,
mental health stuff happens, man. Because you in the early days, you're easily manipulated, and you're easily molded into being this person that like sells your product a certain way, and once you've deluded yourself enough to thinking that's the only way you can sell it, you then get trapped in your own like uncontrolled assist of emotions that don't even belong to you. Like you're getting emotional about shit that you don't even care about,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's like, what is going on? And then your mental health, anxiety, depression, all these things kick in. And like, I personally never have experienced those emotions, but I've watched lots of people crumble under those sorts of things. I feel like Road Trip's done pretty well at keeping real. Like that's one thing that all the boys like give massive credit for. It was always quite a humble entity. It was deluded like in a lot of different ways because it was misled so much information, bollocks information about the music industry and how things worked. But the boys themselves, like everyone had a pretty good, modest head on their shoulders. I feel, there's times where we got to rein each other in. We're all guilty of like overstepping the mark, but we knew what we were. We knew we weren't famous. We knew we weren't like this big thing. We knew we'd just done well on Instagram and that we had some loyal people following us and trusting what we said and did and were entertained by us. That's the only time where we acknowledge some sort of like allure of fame or influence. But like for us, I don't think we ever once were like, we're ballers, like we're big time.
Well, we weren't. It was constantly.
Exactly. Well, we weren't, but statistically, we were a phenomenon.
I think it's because we was all in the headspace of always trying to do better, man.
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
get
so.
to the house and it's like, right, what's the next cover? You don't think like, oh, cool, like we've got to this
How
point.
many
now,
views
that's
does that get?
wicked. Yeah. It's just constantly like, how can we get to this point? And then once we've done that, how can we get to this point? And how can we get this part of what we're doing up to like this point? It's just a constant growth thing. So I don't ever really think you stop to think like,
No,
oh, we're already doing well.
And
that makes sense.
is when you stop to think is when, like, I don't know about you, yeah. Maybe we should be careful like how much we talk about the band and stuff because realistically, that's not like
Yeah.
it's history now, isn't it? For us, like it's a beautiful thing that happened. I think I loved like that we went through it. I would never swap it for the world.
Yeah, I want to touch on that quickly. Like,
Yeah.
as much as I say like they could be bad for your mental health and whatnot, and like we've spoke quite badly of them, I do think boy bands in general are like a great thing for most people and the
Bands,
fans of
yeah.
them, or just bands in
Yeah,
general.
I think bands in general, they're a really good way to like one like
I'm still
exude some
glad
creativity.
I've done them. I wouldn't. change
Yeah,
that.
definitely. Yeah, same. Like, because you get to exude creativity from like this quite modeling sort of age between like your mid-teens to like your early 20s. So you get to like put your creative energy into something, and then either watch it crumble in front of you and really test your friendship circle or the band you're in, and like you learn about business dynamic as well. Like I think it teaches a lot of things with low consequence. Like there's not bands break up and go wrong all the time. There's not really a time where a band can break up and it will destroy your career or anything like that, or that you'll be in loads of debt or any like silly things where if you started up another kind of business that you may be struck with those kind of risks. Whereas in a band, it is just very much a fun thing that will go either way. But there's definitely things that I would want to warn people about. Like I feel like now you've been through it, you have a responsibility to be like, if you want to go and start a boy band, if there's any like young lads watching this or saw what Road Trip did and like wanted to do the same, I see these other kind of start-up bands around the country and they disappear within 6 months.
Yeah.
Because they just don't understand what it takes. Like
You hear the same
it's
story
just-
all the time. Like you
Yeah.
hear it, a new band starts up and within 6 months they're finished. Like, oh, well, what's happened? It's like, oh, it was just like hard for them to meet on like weekends and that. And I'm literally straight away like, well, why are they meeting on weekends? Like, why are they not living with each other? And
Yeah, man,
breathing?
you got if you want to make a successful band, you want to be successful in music. We'll talk about this in another podcast because it'd be a good one to talk about, like some advice on like getting somewhere in the music industry. But you want to get anywhere with music or entertainment, you have to learn how to run social media. Like absolute first and foremost, learn to run social media. Boom. And then number 2, you have to be so ridiculously consistent and like happy to face any kind of adversity and not be wavered by it whatsoever, and just keep going and never never get analysis paralysis on the numbers. The numbers mean nothing. In terms of, obviously, there are real people at the end of those numbers, but like just because you get 1 million views here and 500,000 there doesn't mean you're now half as popular or anything. Algorithms and trends and all these other things, social media, behaviorism, all this stuff is like you can't just expect it to have a natural trend upwards or peaks and troughs. It just goes all over the place. So just consistency, keep going, work on your craft. That's pretty much the basis of how you get successful in most fields, and it's the exact same in music. It's no different. Like really, there's just a lot more politics in music, which again we should talk about at some point.
Yeah,
but
that's a whole new subject.
Oh yeah, mental. Yeah, what do you think about like how we have to keep things, or the difference? Again, not necessarily to like bring up the band, but like it's funny how some artists like, and we were those artists as well. You have to keep things secret.
Yeah,
and like not.
I think us see, since whatever's happened, right? It's nice now where we're in a position in life where we don't have to like I don't have to hide my girlfriend Hannah. Like you don't have to hide your girlfriend like publicly because situations are different.
Real,
now, right?
man. It's just
real.
real.
It's just like it's like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Sorry, the camera cut. I'm not entirely sure what you caught last.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But I don't know. Maybe start a fresh topic and just see where it takes us.
Well, I mean, we've kind of spoken on like the negatives of it, but like let's be real, that whole kind of space of entertainment in general does have there's a lot of positives.
Oh, mate, that's why it's so lucrative. Like
we
everyone, yeah.
we are lucky ass bastards to do half the shit we've done.
Definitely, I think there is I think it's people in general who think they're important or who are important to some extent, like important to someone. And it's tricky, like, to say because we're in that position, and it sounds like such a dickhead thing to say. But when you have like a leverage or like an influence, you are worth something to people in different forms. Like you're worth, like what we're worth to each other, like just me and you, is quite valuable. And like we both have to kind of honor that. And then what we're worth to people we work with from a business standpoint is also very valuable. We have to honor and respect that. And then what we're worth to the fans, and like how people like maybe look up to us or look to us for a bit of inspiration, or in a dark period in their lives, they want a bit of entertainment and they just want to escape a little bit. And with that escapism, and you have to kind of look at yourself differently to how normal people will look at themselves. Even though you're still a normal dude, normal person, doesn't matter how big your following is, this pressure is felt by everyone. And obviously the bigger you get, the more the pressure is kind of overwhelmed, or the more deluded you get to the pressure, because it just doesn't feel real anymore. There's so many numbers that it just doesn't seem like comprehensible that many people could be dependent on you, so you don't even respect it. And that's where a lot of artists go off the rails, I think. But for us, we're trying to go from where we were, learn from those mistakes, and learn from the things that we didn't like, and the things that we think you guys didn't like, try and take it to a more authentic place. And like just be real and like make music that we like, means something to us, and make content that we enjoy making. The process is fun, and then everything's good. Like, bro, like why isn't everyone doing that anyway? Like there's so many people who compensate, sacrifice for bullshit things.
Take the opportunities you got and make the best out of them, and just improve on them of what you're already doing. Like.
Definitely. Like we were saying, weren't we? Like that these podcasts will probably be the first time ever that you guys will have seen some kind of realism from us, where there's not an inhibition. I've got no inhibition here to tell you that like what we were saying earlier about like our like brand was not real. Like that doesn't benefit us by us saying that. Like it doesn't benefit us by saying that like we were this fake thing to be sold for materialistic gain. Like there's not a benefit from that, but it's just a real like education. Like I think it's important for us to speak on that and like accept whatever kind of backlash we get from it. Maybe people now no longer believe in us and what we say because we've admitted to being fake. But I think it's obvious when you're fake and when you're not. Like we got nothing to hide. There's no reason for us to fake anything now because there's no one to be accountable for.
I'm just fucking glad we don't have to be, man. It's nice to just be you. I've had a lot of conversations with Jack about this, man, because obviously like I don't know if you have with like Mikey. I know you're a little bit closer to Mikey than like I don't really know Mikey massively well. I know you're quite close with him. But obviously I'm still quite close with Jack, and he was saying like he was like just when he left, he was like, dude, don't get me wrong, like loved Road Trip and had like the best time. But he was like, I just feel like the biggest weight has been lifted off my shoulders, bro. He was like, it's awesome. Like I don't have to like worry about people knowing about Kirsty. Kirsty doesn't feel like shit because she's like not a massive secret no more. Like,
Bro,
like he was just like, dude, I am like mentally, I am in such a happier place, and I was like he's winning, man.
Yeah, I think like, yeah, it is. It's kind of unbelievable thinking back to like some of the relationships, like the personal relationships we had in the band, and how you would have to treat your girlfriend or something. It's actually like awful behavior. I always like didn't like it, which is why I was always a bit loose with like having my girlfriend on camera. Everyone sort of always knew if I was in a relationship or not because they'd always be around. Because I didn't like suppressing it. Like imagine having your girlfriend in the house and be like, babe, stay here, be quiet, don't come in this room at this time. We're filming, we're doing this, doing that. And then like, because like I was saying earlier, I'm going to go on screen so that I look like this appealing single person, so that other people can monetarily benefit from it, or so that like the fans like still believe that I'm approachable.
It makes
it's
it
so
awkward
awful to do to your girlfriend.
to get into relationships, bro.
And to get in, yeah, it does.
Like, okay,
to get
so
into a trusting
for
one.
example, yeah, like when I joined like the band with you, I know this is not really about that, but for example, right, when I joined that with you guys, like I had to pre-warn my girlfriend. Like that's not a position I want to be in, bro. Like listen, babe, you're gonna have to be a secret. I'm gonna have to pretend you don't exist. Like I can't like have any pictures up with me and you or anything. Like I can't really go out on dates with you, like around London or anything.
That's the thing, yeah. I think
like how are you meant to turn around and say that to someone if you're trying to start a relationship?
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough not to be in that place. Like I was already speaking to my girlfriend at the time. But when you're trying to like create a relationship and you're already in that space, man, that puts you on the back foot straight away. It makes creating relationships and friendships with people, like friendships, so much harder.
It does, but there is like there are some like cross barriers to it between like normal life and this life, and it's all normal life really. It's just the business side of it takes it to a different place. But like there are relationships that don't want to be online, like regardless of like their the status or profile. They just don't want to put stuff online, and I completely get that. The thing that was wrong here is that you're selling yourself online to people as being single for the motives of them wanting to fall for you.
Yeah.
That's whilst you're in a relationship with someone who you're basically saying to, you're giving them an ultimatum and saying, for you to be with me, you got to be quiet about this. And I'm going to tell everyone a lie because that's what makes sense for me. And if we end up breaking up somewhere along that line, sorry, but you're not going to say anything about it. And it's so twisted and it's so wrong. If you're in a relationship, tell people, like don't lie to people, like unless your girlfriend doesn't want you to say, then it's different.
This is what I was going to touch on. I actually think it depends on your intention behind it, because you could have the same scenario with different intentions, and I think it would kind of
just say you're keeping it private. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like just because if I came to you, I didn't know you, like say like a roadie, like doesn't necessarily know the inner workings of your personal life. If I came to you and said, "Are you single?" Like there's a difference between you going, like being respectful to your girlfriend who doesn't want it online, and you going, no, I'm not. I'm in a relationship, but I keep that stuff private. There's nothing, like, why is that wrong? Like, that's fine. That's respecting her and respecting the people and respecting yourself. If you go, no, I'm single. That's literally what a boy band is. It's like, I'm single, babe, shut up. And it's like, yo, you're a disgusting creature. I genuinely think it. And
that's what I mean. But
for
whereas
a long time,
if someone's like,
struggle.
if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to tell anyone because it literally what you just said, it helps me, I'm going to lie to everyone and it just works out better for us that way. That's bollocks. If it's like look, I do this and I don't know, like, because, negative stuff comes with online as well. Majority of it positive, but you do get some negative feedback and you kind of want to protect someone from that and they want to be protected from it too. And you're like, look, we don't really want hate going online. Don't put me online for that reason. Then I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's two people coming together and deciding that option is better for them. Like, that makes sense. But when it's just a fake, smarmy, like, I don't know, man. And it's even worse when you're forced into that position.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a choice in that shit, bro.
No, definitely. And then then music as well. Music is, I think the fact that in those kind of situations, band or not band, like, you can be a solo artist and other things, and like, or just social media people as well, like whatever it is, like there is always an element where you've got to be creative somewhere. and how authentic is that creativity? And the music was meant to be the authentic thing for us. And I think there's one song that Road Trip did that I could relate to at any point. Relate to as in terms of like, yeah, this is a song that like speaks some sort of sense. And it was After the Show. After the Show is one of the only songs that ever kind of made sense. Not because the narrative of it, like, it's basically saying like what we get up to after the show is like naughty stuff and things like that. And that's not the part of it that's authentic. It was just like, we were young people and we were new to this whole thing, going on tours and like not really understanding what it meant to be these new kinds of people with this kind of unspoken influence. And what we used to get up to like behind the scenes, not necessarily after a show in a hotel, but what we get up to behind the scenes was just a little bit chaotic at the start, and it made sense. Every other song, I was always just like, I don't care about these songs. They don't mean anything
Bro,
to
we
me.
had songs with lyrics in "I don't care if I'm 16" and we're singing that, and then I'm
21.
singing that in like our 20s.
Yeah,
It's mental, bro. Like how you? That's what I'm saying. How are you meant to bounce up and down on
It's
stage
so
to that
stupid.
shit?
And you guys knew that as well. We know the roadies knew that. Like, you used to take the piss out of all the time. I used to sing, I don't care that I'm 24. Like, I don't care I'm 24. You'll never be my mother. Yeah, man. But there's so many like stupid things with the music. And I think we could go on about music forever. It's basically the same thing as the other things we spoke about. You suppress it. You let other people. You don't let other people tell you they're doing it, or they ain't gonna give you any other rights to whatever else you're doing. Long-winded political bullshit. But the creme of it is that we've come out of that situation now, and we know what it's like to be suppressed that way. And we did learn a hell of a lot along the way. Like, just because we were suppressed musically didn't mean we didn't learn a hell of a lot musically. Like, I don't know, like maybe 200-300 studio sessions, something stupid like that. Maybe probably a lot more. And you learn a lot. Like, even if you're not doing original songs, like most of the time, you still learn about music production, how to structure a track, and like all these kind of elements of the equation, and how to run production softwares.
Yeah.
And which means now we have the skill set, the know-how to tell a story, and an insane audience who's willing to listen to what we've got to say. And then if we say something real and something that could either be entertaining or authentic, that resonates with people, then that's its merit now. Not like how well can we market it. It's now like, how good is your story? And is it real?
Help people out more as well, man. They'll be able to relate to it more. Like, it will give them the pickups in their downtimes more so when it's real.
And it'll be authentic for us as well, because we're just gonna try and do it ourselves and not like rely on like big producers or like songwriters or people like that. Not that we massively did anyway in Road Trip, but like there was definitely an element of that, like, because we were told we weren't good enough to get involved with the creative process. Whereas like if you look at Jack, his first release, like I'm sure Jack would be happy to tell you, like, he wanted to get something out there. That's not like Jack's best work ever. Like, Jack's gonna go on to make like some sick music, as we've already heard.
That's the exciting thing.
It's just
it's
a
better
start
than
for him.
it's the song's dope. It's better than any song released I've heard Jack's voice on before.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've already heard other songs that he's working on that are better than that.
And
that he's more excited about as well.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for everyone, man. Like, everyone within our circle and like just everyone involved in that whole sitch, like, to be like, I don't think it ended in the right way. I think everything ended in a good time, and I think for a lot of people now, their lives are going to be a lot better, even the people at home.
Yeah,
it's going to do everyone a favour.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be so much better off for this, which is weird. It's like the end of Road Trip was seen as this sort of sad thing, but realistically, regardless of how it ended, the fact it did end, and at least myself and you have got this perspective, I am so happy. Like, so happy it's over, just because of how like rotten the whole thing is. Like, we missed out so much, man. Like, I missed 5 years worth of my little brothers growing up, and like missed my parents getting older, grandparents getting to a place now where they're a lot older, and like they're going through those fine years, and you'll be the same. And it's like, you've missed out on those things.
Bro,
for what?
Dude, I when I joined Road Trip, mate, I had a holiday booked to go Greece. Even my best mate was coming. My best mate from school still went on the holiday, to go out and see my grandparents in Greece. We were going as a big group. I obviously couldn't go to that. My granddad's not even here anymore, man. I missed the last time I could ever see my granddad for the band. And my best mates were in before I bloody did.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realise the sacrifices you give for that band, and sometimes you're a bit like, well, what was that for? But
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's to do anything to a high level, you got to sacrifice for it. Like
Yeah,
no matter
like,
what.
you have to.
But there is like we didn't get a lot from it.
No,
We didn't get a lot from all that sacrifice. Other people got a lot.
the one thing we did get though was the opportunity to be real. With an audience.
And to learn that mistake young is to not take things for granted and appreciate your time. I think most people who come out of a band, they start off being like, I need to make the most of my time. Like I need to maximize my time and be productive and like enjoy friendships and things like that. You can then fall into like some complacency, and we've seen loads of people do it. But I think we're all gonna come out of this and be like, that's enough of a learning curve. Like 5 years worth of a learning curve. For you and for me, although you like joined Road Trip like later on, you still did Overload and other things and knew what it was like to go for those long periods of times through that grueling process. And I think you can't help but that have a major shift in your mentality, so that for the rest of your life you carry that as a remembrance to be like, don't take shit for granted, man. If you got a girlfriend, you make the most of her. Like she is your pride and joy, because she's someone who loves you and you love her, and don't hide her for like materialistic gains.
What would you say is the best like trait or like realization you've had from like this whole experience, or like best thing you've learned or gained or got better at? I know for a fact that mine was to grow a pair of balls, man. Like I'm glad I did that. Like granted, sometimes maybe a bit too ballsy with some of the things I did. Like I quit my job on a day, flew out to America to meet some kid on a whim that he'd be in a band, and that didn't even work out. And then ended up with you guys a few weeks later. But like sometimes, man, you just need to grow a pair of nadgers and do something drastic to get somewhere in life. I think it taught me to do that, man. I'm glad.
Hey guys, we're back. The battery died that time, so a little bit of a longer break. I can't exactly remember where we were, but we were talking about what we learned from the whole process. And you summarised with...
It's help me grow a pair of balls and just go for things like...
Yeah. Oh, that was it. And I was saying, like, I couldn't articulate it. I think learning how to... getting a much better perspective on how to manage and like deal and lead different kinds of people from different swings of like life and for different motives. Like learning how to, it's a constant juggling act for us, isn't it? And it's learning how to orchestrate that juggling act and keep a creative, healthy environment for everyone, and learning from a lot of mistakes. And I think that's a big thing for us.
We did make a lot.
Yeah.
In fairness, no, man. There's no fucking rule book on how to be in a boy band. Like, no one's written a manual on this shit. Like,
there isn't. There's a lot of documentaries you can watch and stuff like that, but like different times, like every year is a new year and a new like algorithm to follow on like social media. There's so many variables that realistically you just got to go out there and try it. But stay authentic. That's the biggest thing I think we could stress. It will benefit you a lot more, and the people around you. It's so worth it. Don't sacrifice your integrity because you think it will make you more money, or because you think you'll get more famous doing it, or because you think it's what fans want to hear. They actually don't. I think you guys appreciate us being real with you 100 times more than you appreciate some bollock story. And like some of the ships in the band, like Randy and stuff like that. Like the idea of me and Andy being in a relationship, like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, but it also kind of makes sense because me and Andy used to play up to camera and stuff like that, and that's more just for our own, like, we've just the way we kind of amused each other. Like, it was just like fun for us to just like be stupid and like cuddle each other, and like I think everyone in the band.
I think everyone's like that though, man. Like when you live in a like a close environment with each other, especially you four, because I was like I did the flat, but not with you guys, right? So like you were all in a 1-bedroom place forever, man. Like
you break down all levels of privacy,
Yeah, you break down all like anything that you'd normally be embarrassed about getting out or whatever. Like that just goes.
Yeah.
Like,
your leg becomes someone else's leg in the house, and like you are everyone's property. And it just kind of like was that way, and I think how it was portrayed online, people thought that, especially me.
I think it confused a lot of people.
Yeah, like me and Andy in a relationship and stuff. Like me and Andy were like solid, and still are. I think me and Andy forever will have like a solid connection, such a large part of each other's lives for such a like long and serious period. No matter what, there's going to be something there. But never in any way was it something even remotely close to being like boyfriend and boyfriend or anything like that. Like it never was. It's just you got like 10, 5-second, 30-second snippets here and there that sold some sort of story, but behind the scenes, he'd be in his room doing his thing and I'd be doing my other thing, and we'd live almost separate lives other than the band, which is another thing to bear in mind, isn't it? That like, although we all lived together and did all this stuff together, we all wanted to do different things and had different kind of hobbyistic things. And
well, that's where I think we'll be happier now, because all five of us got to the point in the band where we wanted to live our own lives and do our separate things, and you kind of interfered with the band, like when everyone was trying to do that.
Yeah.
Now everyone can do those things.
Your hobbyistic things that you have in the band end up becoming the thing you want to do, and the band becomes hobbyistic, and everyone got that mentality. And I think that happens in a lot of things, but especially in a band, because it's not strict enough. There's not like linear things to follow. Like we were saying, there's no rule book, so you don't really know how to like set a precedent for stuff and how much time you should be devoting to it. It's tricky, but it's over now, and we're happy it's over now. This is probably the last time we're going to speak about it this kind of length. We just obviously wanted to make sure we sort of like offer any advice we can whilst it's fresh in our head. I think it's valuable that for us to look back on as well, to see where our headspace was at this point is interesting. And we're going to like do some interesting talks, podcasts, whatever you want to call them. We're just going to sit down with people and chat about stuff, chat about life, chat to you guys as well. We wanted to get some of you guys involved in this podcast, but I think we'll save it for another one. We'll do like a live calling thing, and also get the guys in the house involved.
Yeah,
like I know we all have this idea to like make some fun videos together, and it might be cool to try out some of that stuff. But I think also get them in the podcasts and just talk about all kinds of stuff.
Just playing it by ear, really.
Yeah, man.
Playing it by ear.
We're all stuck here in quarantine as well, so there's not really you don't have a great deal of options, but there's still a lot you can do. You just gotta like get creative and like dig a little deeper. And
we'll find a way to make the most of it.
Yeah, man. And looking back on these videos in quarantine as well, it's gonna be really weird in the future. We're gonna be like, look what we ended up doing with our time. Like we decided to just be creative still, and like not just sit around and wait for the world to go back to normal. We just wanted to try and create some normality for ourselves, and I think it'll be a cool thing to look back on.
The world ain't normal, man.
No, it's not. The world's in a strange place right now, but it's gonna go back to some sort of normality soon. We're gonna try film some like, I don't even know what we can call them. We're just gonna try film some videos, like together, and just see what we can come up with.
We can travel now, bro.
Yeah, and we can
go and see people that support us in like Europe and stuff, man.
I know. We can go and like.
No one can be like, no. Just be like, well, she'll book a flight.
Bro, we can literally go to Amsterdam and be like, guys, if you want to come meet us in Amsterdam,
holla.
We'll get litty.
We get litty.
Get litty. There's loads of cool
fat
stuff
one.
Yeah.
What's
that? No, we can. We can do. We can pretty much do anything. It's proper sweet. But yeah, I think we're good. If we just post this one tonight and we post another one Saturday, and then just try and post every Wednesday and Saturday, because we want to try and post some videos on Sunday, like a bit more like. I don't know. We need to flesh out with the guys, but I think we just want to film like a challenge, like some kind of thing in a day, and just like try and just like show what you can kind of get up to, even though it's quarantine. You can still have some fun with your mates or with your family, whoever you live with. You can still get creative and do stuff.
There's always something you can do.
There is, yeah. And you don't need lots of money or resources to do it. You can literally just like even just your iPhone, but just having an ability to create content is definitely a cool thing to do in this time, because you need to let your brain be creative. If right now all you're doing is sitting around like binge watching films and TV shows and stuff, when the world does come back to normal, it's going to be a shock. Like, you should really try to keep that brain active, I'd say, is a big piece of advice.
Yeah, keeping it active as well allows you to not sit in your own thoughts as well. Can be dangerous times, man. It's not good to sit in your own thoughts
especially
too much.
If you're lonely, yeah.
Yeah, so stay active. Do something. Make the most of something.
Yeah.
Even if it's pony, like, give it a go.
100%. But yeah, I mean, sick. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
We've literally just waffled on, and it's been beautiful. And we do this a lot anyway. Like, me and you have been like, we've been in and out we've made a home studio. We've been in and out of it for ages. We go in there for like maybe 6-7 hours, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. 50% of it is doing stuff and being creative. 50% of it is just talking about life and things and history and all this other stuff. So it's cool to actually like, that's the stuff you guys never got to see as well. So we hope that you guys
can just film it and put it up now.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully you enjoy hearing that kind of communication and what it's sort of like living this sort of lifestyle and showing some authenticity, which is a nice feeling for us, isn't it? That feels good. But thank you guys. Subscribe. We'll be doing try and do 2 of these a week, Wednesday and Saturday. I've just lost my nail.
Ryan?
Don't know where it's gone. I'll find it later.
What do you mean you're now?
I've been playing with this nail the whole time. Like my hands.
okay.
I don't know why.
I thought you meant a fingernail. I was going to say you're acting.
No,
very calm.
that'd be pretty grim. But yeah, thank you guys. Please subscribe. Leave us some comments as well for ideas for like other topics. We want kind of like topical conversation.
Yeah, just if you have an opinion on something or a thought or like a hold on, what if this was the okay? Just send us it because we love that sort of shit.
Yeah,
we're always waffling about that.
Yeah, if you got some questions that you like wanted to know about, like we're gonna be real with everything. We're gonna respect like that. Obviously, like some people aren't here to like speak for themselves, so we're only gonna speak from mine and Sonny's perspective, and also like on things that we've seen and witnessed as well. But ask us anything you want, we'll answer it, and also give us some ideas for topic of conversations and guests as well. We want to try bringing some guests when like lockdown stuff lifts a little bit, and I think that would be cool to bring in some like other perspectives and talk about some other stuff.
Bring in some guests on come and have a chat.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you guys. Stay safe, stay indoors, listen to the government. I think, don't quote me, go like research it yourself, but I think come mid-June, things are starting to get lifted a little bit more. And there's a bit more normality
if all goes along the right
going
track.
smooth, yeah. So fingers crossed, we're all in this together, guys. The whole world is. Mentor, I was queuing up at Waitrose, just like this massive queue outside, and I was like, oh, this is like, we're going to look back on this and be like, do you remember? And the whole world was in standstill, and like, oh, it's just
It'll
bizarre.
be like, where did you quarantine? Like, you know, in 2020, when Corona hit, where was you living during that? Like, where did you stay? Because like,
it's insane, bro. Actually insane. And we're going to have hopefully a really cool thing to look back on, like how we made the most of it.
That's another podcast.
Exactly. But thank you guys. All the love. And we'll see you soon. See you Saturday.
Peace.
Saturday.
That was fun, man.
Yeah, man. They're good, aren't they? They're like weird therapy sessions.